I welcome you to my channel where my humor is pretty dark but my deck profiles are much darker. So the ban list kind of came out and I finally got a hold of some of the Etco Deep Sea cards and I wanted to put together an updated deck profile to show some of these cool new things. And we won't include all of the new Deep Sea stuff. It will not be a pure Mermail build. This is kind of like the best of both worlds when you combine a Halqifibrax style build with a more traditional water one. And it's pretty self-explanatory, some of these cards, so I'm just going to run through it. And at the end of the deck profile, I'm going to show a few deck build specific combos utilizing some tech cards. What made this deck so good was actually one of the newer cards from Eternity Code. This is Deep Sea Minstrel. Deep Sea Minstrel is a level 3 water tuner. Basically, she can look at your opponent's hand, and take a card from it. Your opponent essentially needs 2 hand traps or more to be able to stop your plays. She's also a tuner as well as being able to activate Dragoons, which is part of a 2-card combo. And if you truly break, you can normal summon this after infantry to get your extra normal summon to make Halqifibrax. For your regular starters of the deck, it's just 3 Deep Sea Diva, along with 3 Neptibus. These are your pretty much standard plays. Deep Sea Diva by herself, it makes Halqifibrax, whereas Neptibus will send Dragoons to search for a Lapis Dragon, and that's how you get to Halqifibrax. Now this deck's pretty good at being consistent in that sense. Your only worry with this build is drawing into your Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lions, but if you don't draw into O-Lions, then you're able to basically combo off and win. And do a couple of draws as well as ending on some pretty powerful floodgates. So you want to maximize all copies of this card so we have a high chance of drawing into them. For the remainder of the Atlantean cards, of course, 3 Dragoons. This card basically searches your entire deck, and with that we have the 1 Infantry. This isn't our main extender. It's actually used mostly as a card you can search at the end if you want to discard off of your Croco Dragon or your Lapis Dragon, Coral Dragon to pop some stuff, or with your Abyssalacia. But this card can be used with your Minstrel to get the extra normal summon to do your combos. For the main extenders, 3 Mermail Abyssalacia. This card allows you to do so much by being able to discard Dragoons or even Neptibus to get their effects. And with it we have its 2 search targets. 1 Abyss Pike, this card's so good with Dragoons. And 1 Abyss Gun, I actually found myself wanting to have this card back because you can discard this card, of course, going second after you say hit your opponent with a Dark Ruler no more. And being able to resolve this after discarding it off of a Croco Dragon or a Coral Dragon allows you to gain the advantage needed to push for game. Sometimes this deck can struggle with that unless you play Boral Sword. And even then, after we pass with VFD back to our turn, very rarely do we ever get back to the 8,000 damage to OTK. So this is one of those cards that helps us do that. You get to discard this card off of one of your Synchro Monsters or even Teus or even Minstrel. Lets you do so much more with the deck. One of the more superior water extenders, and in my opinion, well deserving of super rares, been way past its time. This card being a level 4 and a water allows us so much synergy with the deck. For example, Teus or Minstrel being able to discard it as an extra card in case you need to make sure your opponent doesn't have a hand trap, but you still want your Diva to resolve normally. Also, it is a water, so you're able to banish this with Deep Sea Aria, which I do play in this variant. So this card is very helpful with those combo plays. For the last 3 water-specific cards, we have a Lapis Dragon. This is mainly for the Neptibus combos. It is needed for that portion, but if you do draw it, it's not the end of the world. Accompanying this card, we do have a 1 copy of Abyss Megalo. Now this card's one of the more controversial cards in a Halqifibrax style build because this card actually doesn't have a huge potential with the Synchro Monsters in the build. Your X deck's very tight, and so you don't play a lot of Dragites or Boreal Savage Dragons particularly, or even rank 7 Abyss Gaios or Big Eyes. This card is here mainly to be used as an OTK enabler, as well as being able to help with break hands in case you need something to discard 2 things, to maybe chain block something to help make your plays go through. This card also allows us to be able to search for an Abyss Scale, which is completely optional, because it itself can sometimes break with your hands. But in those fields we have an extra extend, you can end with a VFD with an Abyssalacia with the Abyss Scale, which is a pretty powerful play to follow up in case your opponent is able to break through the VFD board. Now level 8 Synchro is the Millen Glacia. If your opponent tries to hand trap you once or twice and you drop this afterwards, your opponent essentially starts with 2 or 1 card in their hand, plus a VFD lockdown on your field. It's very tough for your opponent to deal with it, and so it's an essentially really good card to play because once your opponent clears the hand traps out of their hand, you drop this card, rip their combo starters out, and they basically crumble from there. For the only break in my deck, it's also the only proxy I play. This is 2 copies of Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion, This card is what makes all of your combos possible with Mechanibeast Auroradon, so that's why we play multiples, because we never want to draw this card in our opening hand. However, drawing it's not the end of the world either, because this is a tuner, and it still floats, and you still have the second to grab from the deck to make the Auroradon with. So this card can instead just be used as a normal summon after special summoning your Shithana or special summoning your Megalo or your Tejas to be able to go into a Halqifibrax normally. And with that, for the Halqifibrax target, we do play the 1 Despot 001. The reason why we play this over Jet Synchron or even Fishborg Launcher is because we need 2 machines to go into the Auroradon with the Halqifibrax, and Fishborg Launcher isn't a machine. It is recurable without using any resources. However, this card just makes it so much better over Jet Synchron because Jet Synchron requires you to just send a card, which means it doesn't even activate your Abyss Gund. And if you do hard draw this card, you can still summon it off of your hand from Halqifibrax. For the hand trap portion of this deck, there's a lot of freedom with what you choose to pick. I, of course, choose the 3 Nibiru. This card is one of the strongest cards to stop combo Eldlik and Rock unless they open their Quackamiru Guardian. In that case, you kind of need permanence to help with that. But instead, Nibiru just helps deal with a lot of the problem matchups. And with that, 3 Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom also helps with that, but she's also a tuner. So if you do have Shithana in your hand, you're able to normal summon the Ash Blossom after you special summon the Shithana, very much like the Duskwad 001 or the O-Line, because it's essentially the same thing. 1 tuner plus 1 non-tuner or tuner. Halqifibrax can use both for some reason, it's that good, and both of them together can basically make full comp, provided you don't get hand trapped. And to finally round this off, we do have the Effect Wheeler simply for the added bonus of being a normal summonable tuner to help go into Halqifibrax. Of course, you could play Impermanences, but it also hinders your consistency, but Impermanence is the superior hand trap for stopping plays what Nibiru can't stop. 8 hand traps, and that kind of 8 hand traps basically rounds up the disruption portion from the main deck. Moving on to the spells, we have 3 Call by the Grave. This card is an essential part of any competitive deck because this lets us deal with a lot of hand traps that try to stop our plays. This card also lets you banish Eldlik the Golden Lord, as well as some key cards like Block Dragon in the Adamantipator matchup, as well as some invoked cards, maybe from the invoked deck. Being able to get rid of some of the cards that Invocation can send can stop your opponent from fusing stuff from the grave. Obviously, this doesn't help as much late game, but early game, this card is really pivotal in swaying the field. With that, we play the 2 new Deep Sea Arias. This card's a really beautiful card. Now, the reason why we don't play 3 is because this is a hard once per turn, and it is not a starter card. I have to make that clear. Deep Sea Diva does require you to have some prior setup to use its effect, but it does search Deep Sea Diva, Infantry, Neptibus, or any level 4 Allure Sea Serpent for that matter. So if your plays do get stopped, you can use Aria to revive or to banish something to search for your Diva for the follow-up play. Additionally, if you have this card plus the Shithana, you can banish the Shithana from your graveyard by linking it off into a specific link monster I'm going to show you in a bit. Then you can then proceed to use this card to banish it and get your search. For the last few cards, we have 2 Pot of Avarices. This is kind of optional, but it's still very important for making sure you have recovery plays next turn. By being able to draw a bunch of cards and putting back your Dragoons, you're able to do several plays over and over again, while also building your hand to be able to use Crocodile several times and have more than 4,000 attack. 1 Monster Reborn, because this makes your Neptibus or your Diva 100% full combo if they hand trap it with a tuner hand trap. 1 for 1, because this is full combo, as well as an Abyss skill of the Mizuchi to equip to Megalo, Pike, Gund, or Abyssalacia to help push for damage and for an extra negate. Now, these cards are the most optional out of all of them, and so these cards can be cut. However, this build tries to combine some of the best attributes of a more traditional Mermail build, as well as the Halqifibrax style build. This is a 45 card deck, and that's because we lessen our chances and our likelihoods of drawing into our big time bricks, while also stopping drawing hard once per turn cards. And so being able to draw a couple hand traps, different hand traps, as well as drawing a 1 Deep Sea Diva to help back it up, is a very well-wanted thing with this type of build. For the extra deck, it's rather kind of tight, so we've made some specific choices with what we play. With that, we play the 1 Monk of the Tinny. This combos very well with Deep Sea Aria and Shithana. That's because Shithana can special summon itself from your hand to your field, link it off for the Monk, and then you can use Aria to banish the Shithana to search for a Deep Sea Diva. And then you can go ahead and normal summon and do your full play from there. With that, for Link 1s, we have a Link Creative. This is to help mitigate the waters in the grave, as well as being able to combo with Neptibus, plus your Effect Wheeler to have some form of protection in case some of your plays sometimes get stopped. This also helps give you some different waters in the graveyard to allow Moon Glacier to be used to its full potential. For the level 2s, we have one Coral Anemone. This card is to help revive our Neptibus in case it gets hand trapped or stopped. This also lets us revive our Dragon because it has less than 1500 attack. And that can help us push for some games and have some added disruption. One Abyss Alacia, this is for those hands where you aren't able to make Halqifibrax, yet still have some disruption on the board. She's also a very protective card because if she's blown up, she can also send stuff to search stuff and special summon stuff. So this card's pretty good in case you really big time brick. For the combo cards, we have 2 Halqifibraxes. This is in case one gets hand trapped and you don't have the protection to stop it. However, you're still able to use 2 in one turn because you can still take out a bunch of cards from your deck. Special summoning Diva off of Halqifibrax or Menstrual can help you go into Anemone to revive one of your stronger water monsters. With the Halqifibrax, we do play the one Aurora because this is full combo, special summons 3 tokens. I don't think I need to explain it further. Finally, for my last Link monster, this is the one BLS. This is mainly for the Bismegalo because Bismegalo is your only decent searchable level 7 or higher. Now you can summon this without a level 7 monster, it just requires 3 generic ones, but being a level 7 allows us to have so much built-in protection that it essentially beats out like right outright. That's one of the reasons why I do play the Megalo as a search target. You don't have to play the Abyss scale. However, it does add some provided interruption in case you are unable to do your Halq plays. For the Synchro monsters, this is the one prox in the extra deck. This is a Gardener's Maiden. Essentially, you summon this, and then you use this plus your Despot 001 to go into the Coral Dragon. And then after this card's sent to the graveyard to summon the Vermilion Mech or the Croco Dragon, you basically banish this card to revive it, and let you basically go with this plus a token to go into your second level 9 Synchro. The Coral Dragon's part of a draw 2 combo that ends on a VFD, so it is the superior play with the water decks. To round off the last 2 cards in the extra deck, we have a Bahamut Shark plus a Totally Awesome. Obviously, you might be thinking, well, these cards aren't that easy to summon, except they really are. Any combination of these 3 cards can help you get into the Bahamut Shark, and of course, Abyss Pike plus the Dragoons is full combo, and Shathana plus Abyss Pike is full combo. Because you make, with Dragoons, Bahamut Shark, and Bahamut Shark can detach their Dragoons to search for your Lapis Dragon. You can then use Lapis Dragon plus your Bahamut Shark to go into your Halq combo while keeping it Totally Awesome on the field for some provided disruption. So that rounds up this deck profile. My goal with this deck profile is to combine the best of both the traditional Mermail variant using the Deep Sea Stealth as well as the Halqifibrax Turbo. Halqifibrax Turbo is better for competitive, however it does fall back on some added applicability that the traditional style does have, such as using Abyss Megalo as an easy search target for your BLS because you don't want to link off the Moon Glacier and lose your battle phase. However, if you are making BLS that turn in case you're going for the OTK, it's not an issue because Moon Glacier won't stop that turn's battle phase, just the following turn. If you like this deck profile, make sure to subscribe and like this video. This is an entire channel dedicated to mostly water decks with some provided, changes for the future.